The league phase of Champions League is over, and we've got lots to unpack with that and the domestic leagues too. Welcome back for another episode of A Soccer Fan Walks Into a Bar. I'm Dave, and I'll be sitting down with Diego once again to talk anything and everything about the beautiful game, so sit down for a great listen. Well, Diego, happy Lunar New Year. We are officially in the year of the snake now. Yeah. The Inter Milan fans are probably thrilled.
Let's do it.
As well as Philadelphia Union. They have a snake logo as well. So how was the week for you?
It was good. It was good, man. It was a good beginning of the year. This month has been up and down, weather-wise and business-wise. But, coming along. Yeah. We got a good weekend coming up, though. 2 big events, Latin Night and junket. So, everybody come down.
And some very big watch parties that we'll catch up to.
Well, those are the ones that we're going to be talking about now.
But yeah, speaking for this brewery as well as most other breweries and bars and restaurants, dry January will come to an end tomorrow, the last day of January, and we are rolling into February with reckless abandon. So
let's get back all the drinking that we couldn't do this month.
All right, so jumping right into it, we're going to start up with, we'll go a little bit backwards chronologically, but I want to jump right into the final match day of Champions League league phase, is I believe what they're calling it these days. 18 matches simultaneously, all 3 o'clock kickoffs local time here. It was, March Madness on steroids, so to speak.
Yes, it was indeed.
And we've been on the fence about, do we like the format? Do we dislike the format?
Absolutely.
Do we know enough about the format to formulate that opinion? It's been surprisingly interesting.
Yeah.
I do enjoy not having the home and home with each team in the old group style. So from that aspect, it's fun. It's different. We'll see if it stands the test of time. I understand from a competitive balance standpoint why they had to do every match at the same time. But for me, I'd love to have seen it in 2 time slots. 9 matches at noon, 9 matches at 3.
Yes.
I understand why they didn't and can't do that. Yeah. But, as big of a soccer fan as I am, it was too much at once. I couldn't,
There is no way to keep up with all of it. But, like you said, there is a competitive factor on that situation. Right. You couldn't just play out your match and then see what happens. Or if you're the one depending on something else, or somebody else is depending on you, you have to keep it fair.
Oh, sure.
But one thing I did realize, and I wasn't paying attention to that, was the economic side for the smaller teams. I mean, this type of tournament brought a lot of money in for these small markets because they're getting big marquee games that otherwise they couldn't get.
And they're getting 2 more matches now.
Exactly.
As opposed to the for those of you that don't know, the former Champions League format was 6 group stage matches, home and home with the 3 other teams in your group.
Yep.
So now it's 4 home games, 4 away games, based on I believe they put them into pods in 4 different groups based on your qualification and your country's coefficient. So
but it's, again, the economic factor, especially with all these leagues, being tied down depending on how much money you make, that's how much money you can spend.
Yep.
That's kind of like bringing some light into some teams. I mean, Barcelona being one of them. Strapped for money as they are and everything. All these extra matches are bringing in money that is going to help them down the road. I mean, Liverpool is the big winner out of all this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They make some sort of like 30-something million pounds on these 8 matches. So if they made that much money, imagine a small market team who finally got to see their team playing other big markets.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because back in the day, like you said, it was home and home, but it was only 3 teams that you got to see your team with. Now you got to see them with everybody. Those Bayern Munich matches for the small teams, big money makers, Liverpool, Arsenal, all these other factors that, kind of like sold me on it. Like it was weird and everything. But that is helping the markets, and this is something that is necessary for all these teams. So I appreciate it.
The ultimate reasoning for this is money.
Yeah.
Money for FIFA, money for UEFA, money for some of the quote-unquote bigger clubs to keep them out of the European Super League for now. But, again, obviously 2 extra matches doesn't do much for the rest and recovery of these players. But overall, I think it has been a net positive so far. We are just through the league phase in year 1. Let's wait and see long term what this is.
Absolutely,
doing,
but there is something funny you said about the Super Copa thing, the Super League, as they like to call it. It is showing a different picture of these group stages.
Yeah,
I mean, these big teams that were wanting to go to these places and separate themselves from the UEFA Cup didn't do too well. Some of them didn't do too good at that.
Real Madrid, needed a result just to get into the playing game. Man City, as of halftime, was out.
Yeah.
It was certainly eye-opening. And that's what I've said all along. I heard this, it was probably 3-4 years ago now at this point. I was listening to another radio show. The first time the European Super League was rumored to be coming out. And they said the same thing. What happens if 4 years in a row Bayern Munich comes in 14th place?
Exactly.
Is Bayern Munich the team that they thought they were anymore, or no? So to see the mixing and matching, I think
it's
good for the game.
Yeah, it's healthier.
It gives everyone the fair crack at being on the big stage.
Yeah.
And I think the fans had spoken, and this is kind of a happy compromise.
Yes, exactly. This is the fine middle that the FIFA found that is going to keep everybody happy. And you know what? At the beginning, I was a skeptic. I didn't actually like it. I thought it was quite annoying and confusing. It was like a mini tournament within the tournament. But the results were there, and the results were positive. So let's see next year. Let's see how it keeps going.
I agree. Well, I'm looking forward to the knockout phases now as well. But let's get to the on-field stuff. So atop the table was Liverpool. They won their first 7. They visited PSV Eindhoven. They lost 3-2 with a match winner in the 5th minute of first half stoppage time from American Ricardo Pepi.
Yes, that was exciting for us.
It was very exciting for him. I on one of the multiple screens that I had going on, I was paying attention a lot to Barcelona-Atalanta, which is 2 teams that are just, it was back and forth, wide open.
Such a great match.
Absolute golazo from Ederson in the 67th minute for Atalanta, and it wound up a 2-2 draw.
Yep.
The game that we had up on the big screen for our Hudson Valley citizens, Man City hosting Club Brugge. Again, they needed a win to advance and to get into the play-in part of the knockout.
Yes, exactly. Phase. They're not even qualified to the whole thing.
They gave up a goal just before halftime, so they went into the half 1-0 down. Although they did have, for the most part, the run of play. And then second half goals from Mateo Kovacic, an Ordóñez own goal, as well as a Savinho goal in the 77th minute, made it a 3-1 final, and put that one to bed.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, the problem with City is that, they just...
How much time do we have to talk about the problems with City right now?
Well, no, the immediate problem in this game, yes, they did have the run of the game, but they have no definition, and it was just... It was just not consistent.
Yeah.
They just move the ball around, but you can move the ball all you want if you're not going forward.
Right.
Sideways movement, it's only positive when you're winning.
Yeah.
And you said, they started losing the match.
For a team that we have become intimately familiar with, it's like the anti-Bournemouth.
Exactly.
They don't want possession, and when they do have the ball, they want to go forward.
They want to go. Exactly. And if it wasn't for that own goal, to be 100% honest with you, I think that game would have ended up in a draw. That demoralized the other team so much that they
it very well could have. So we're not going to cover too much more on the draws for the next round of Champions League because the draw does happen on Friday. So if you're listening live or tonight, that is tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So in next week's show, we'll have all the matchups laid out, and we'll be able to talk more about.
Or maybe we'll do a special episode on that one.
So we'll like I said, we'll wait on that until we know who's playing who.
Yep.
And then we'll delve deeper into that. As for going back now chronologically, Premier League match day 23 last weekend had some excitement. So we started the weekend with Brighton hosting Everton upstairs. Everton under new/old manager David Moyes.
Coming back, yeah.
And, Brighton, the game had ebbs and flows. Brighton had, I think, the better quantity of quality chances.
Yes. Couldn't finish. That was the only problem.
But a 42nd minute penalty on a pretty bad handball from Brighton led to the only goal in the match. Everton escapes with a 1-0 victory.
Yeah.
And, you could see just the happiness and relief on the faces of players and staff at Everton.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Because they've been up against it now, it seems like 3 years in a row.
Forever.
Of just, every match matters. I am hearing rumors that maybe they're in line for another points deduction, possibly. So the saga continues.
If Man City didn't get penalized, everybody should just forget about all this and be done with it, man. Come on.
Well, I did hear that penalty might be coming to light also in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
Wow. Let's keep an eye on that.
I know it's.
Justified
it's more content for us. Let's put it that way.
They got Barcelona on the hook for it. They got all these other teams. Yeah. And Man City still seems to be coming up on skate. And don't get me wrong here, we're fans of Man City, but justice is justice. If somebody's getting penalized, everybody should get penalized. That's just the bottom line.
All right, moving on. Wolves hosted Arsenal. Ricardo Calafiori with the lone goal in that one for Arsenal to keep pace with the league leaders.
Yeah.
Man City against Chelsea on Sunday was, probably the marquee match of the weekend. A Madueke goal in the 3rd minute off a terrible opening stanza from new signing Usmanov. Put Chelsea ahead. Man City did recover en route to a 3-1 win. So within the span of 4 days,
2 victories.
They had 2 3-1 victories while trailing 1-0 in both of those matches. So, and that's kind of something that City had been known for is they'll give up the easy cheap goal.
Yes.
And then
that's the
wake up call.
Exactly. They're lethargic. That's what it is. They're very lethargic, and when they get poked, they're like that sleeping winter bear.
Exactly. So Man City keeps pace. They are slowly but surely kind of getting back to where maybe not where they should be, but you're seeing some glimmers of hope.
They're stabilizing.
Exactly.
That's the word. That's the only word we can use with Man City because we don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 matches. But they're stabilizing a little bit, and that's all they need.
Yeah.
They need to keep a steady pace for right now. Go back into European competition. No, not get back because they are in, but they get back to the UEFA, to the Champions League.
Right.
That's what their ultimate goal is. I don't know about the winning at all thing, but just the fact that they can just steady up and stay in the top 10 teams, it's great for them right now.
And elsewhere in the league, Tottenham Hotspur hosting relegation-embattled Leicester City under new manager Ruud van Nistelrooy. Through Richarlison, they went up 1-0 in the 33rd minute.
Yeah.
Went into halftime, looking good. And in the span of 4 minutes, Leicester scored twice behind Vardy and El Kanouche. And Tottenham lost a home match, again, under Ange Postecoglou. Where do we go from here?
No, it's a team. It's one of those things that you try, and the results just don't happen. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot in sports, There are situations like that when you give it your best, you try really hard, you start getting ahead, but lack of concentration. I blame the time lose most of the time in lack of concentration. There is something that happens always in the last few minutes of the game or something like that, and that's what determines the game. I don't know. This is a relegation team.
Yeah, no. For what it's worth, the players are backing Ange. They like him there.
Oh, they are.
But you can't ignore the fact that they sit in 15th place.
Yeah.
They are 29 points behind Liverpool for the league.
No, they just got to steady up. They got to stay up.
They're only 8 points out of relegation right now.
That's what I'm saying. They got to stay on the Premier. That's all they won now.
This is scary. They are
8 points.
They've lost their last 4. It's.
And not even positive results because there's been more ties than anything else. They have no really victories.
No.
Not that many. So
and as we say that, they are level with Eifsborg in their Europa League match, currently at halftime. So
yeah, no, this is just a team that things are not working for them. There is nothing else we can say. Like you said, the team is united. The team believe in themselves. It's just the results are not happening. And I mean, what can we say about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There is not really a need for a change of anybody. I mean, they did changes already. So that ship sailed.
Right.
So right now it's just keep believing, keep trudging on. The fans just have some faith that they're not going to go relegated because, again, it's a reality. It's a possibility. Yep. It's not too much, but it's a possibility.
You never know.
And just wait for next year. I think this is a next year situation. There is nothing that can be done for them.
I don't disagree with you, but when you are a self-purported Big Six team playing in London in a new stadium with supposedly an owner and manager that have aspirations.
Yeah. Well, now that you mention, it's funny that you said the whole new stadium situation. There is a thing called a curse, There is a thing called a curse. I mean, a lot of teams, especially in England, through the years, every time they open up a new stadium, they kind of like just go down.
Yeah.
They just things don't happen. Why? I don't know. I am superstitious, so I'm chalking it up as the new stadium curse. But let's hope they survive it. I don't want to see them relegated. I really don't.
I don't think anyone wants to. We've talked about it about United, about other teams in the past, about Everton. I think the league is better as a whole when you have teams like this that are still involved.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so we go from the lowest of lows to maybe the highest of highs. Cherries on top. AFC Bournemouth we talked about it last week, a unfathomable come August.
Yes.
Battle for Champions League places between Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest.
Let's do this.
Forest has one of the best defenses in terms of goals conceded in the league.
Oh, absolutely. Crushed.
And Bournemouth put 5 in on them.
Crushed,
It
baby.
was a 5-0 victory for Bournemouth. And honestly, it could have been more.
Oh, yeah. No.
A 9th-minute goal from Kluivert. Goals from Dango Utara in the 55th, 61st, and 87th minute. All capped off with an Anton Semenyo goal in the 91st minute. Incredible match. Dango Utara becomes the first ever player from Burkina Faso to record a hat trick in the Premier League. Their win streak is now, their unbeaten streak is now at 11. That's 7 wins, 4 draws.
No, what was it? October, November was the last time they lost? I think it was November-ish.
Yeah, I gotta think
but
back
still,
now.
they're killing it, baby. I love it. And it's not just the same person. I mean, we got a hat trick from Kluivert last weekend.
Yep.
We got one this past weekend from Dango. And like you and I talk about it every week when we do the cherries on top. Next man up. Just bring it.
It really is, again, not to go over cliche with everything that Bournemouth is doing, but it really is next man up, playing for the guy next to you.
Yep.
A lot of kind of like, as an American, what we would call like the in the trenches kind of American football lexicon. So, go ahead. No,
it just seems that no matter who gets injured, no matter who leaves, there is always somebody truly willing to fill in that spot and just keep on trucking and keep on pushing. And like you said, now we're talking Champions League.
Yeah.
We're talking Champions League right now. They're sitting pretty. They're winning. They just beat the number 3 team, I think it was. Nothing was
so
at
not
3
only
at
were
that
they
point.
not only were they in 3rd place, but Bournemouth have now in the last 2 weeks scored 9 goals against
top teams.
Against teams that have been in the top 4 in goals conceded.
Yep.
So, to put 4 in at Newcastle and now 5 while hosting Forest is incredible. Something that, especially without Enes Unal, without Evan Nielsen, and without Sinistera, without Tavernier did make an appearance late in the match, but to be missing these guys that are attacking players and not miss a beat is incredible.
Now we got to see what happens when they get back.
Yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for these guys to get back into the rotation.
Yeah. And I think that the coach is gonna make them earn that.
Oh, of course.
That spot back.
Same way Tyler had to, when he came back in like September, October. Speaking of which, Tyler had 2 assists in the match, broke up a ton of attacks from Forrest. Yeah. Really, Forrest was never able to kind of get going, because of his and Christie's work in the midfield.
And you know what? That's what's been happening in the past 2-3 matches. Though that combination of players in the midfield is becoming a lockdown combo right there. And that's what's creating all these new opportunities because, like you said, Bournemouth don't want the ball. They don't want the ball. They don't need the ball.
They take it away and they get forward.
Immediately, exactly.
Or
it's all about quick strikes.
Even better, which is how he got the last assist, they're taking the ball away in the attacking third. So to force these turnovers in dangerous areas has been incredible for them. All right, so that will do it for the first half of our show. We'll be right back with some domestic stuff on 100 Miles to Home.
That's all you, baby. See you guys.
All right, welcome back to A Soccer Fan Walks Into a Bar. Diego's here with me. I'm Dave. For those of you, if you only started watching the show halfway through.
Here we are, baby.
So here we are, 100 Miles to Home, our coverage for all things local American soccer here, whether it's MLS, NWSL, USL, U.S. national team stuff, whatever.
All the leagues.
Whenever it fits here, we throw it in. So some non-player specific news, I guess we'll call it, for the MLS. It was announced last week that both NYCFC and Red Bull New York will be playing in both the Leagues Cup and the U.S. Open Cup, which, for those of you that remember, neither of them played in the Cup last year. It was their second teams that made that appearance in the Open Cup, much to the chagrin of people like myself.
You want to see the starters.
Right. If you remember, back in last summer, Darryl Sullivan and I had a long talk about exactly that. It's his Hudson Valley Hammers did happen to play against Red Bull too in the Open Cup last year, so it was a cool experience for them. But you want to see the big teams in the big games. So
and that's the idea with these tournaments. You know what I mean? You got to build them up at the beginning. Maybe send your second teams down the road. But now that you're trying to build up a tournament, you need to have the crowd invested on it, and the only way to do it is sending your primary team.
I agree. I think one, the players want a trophy to go after, and two, the fans want to see it. I mean, some of the games, last year with these, second teams, the stadium, the attendance, not just the quality. I don't care. Not that I don't care about the quality, but to me, one of the beautiful things about the Open Cups and one of the FA Cup is you'll get teams, in the 7th and 8th division playing against some of the big boys. So it's not necessarily the quality, but when you're fielding second teams and third teams,
you're right.
Nobody wants to be there to watch. You want to see the guys that you recognize for your local team.
Absolutely. And the idea is that, you know what I mean? You want to make money out of it, and people are not coming to see you. Then that.
I think this is a big victory for U.S. soccer, the American fan.
Agreed.
And although they might not agree with it, I think it's a big win for the teams as well to be able to take part in that.
Yeah. Competition is competition, and an athlete wants to win. No matter what the trophy is, you want to be able to have a chance to do that, and bragging rights, and just your anemic performance. You yourself wants to feel good once the real tournament, well, not the real tournaments, but the main tournament starts. And these are the games that get you there.
I agree. All right, so moving over to the NWSL, I don't know if it was made official yet. I'm going to actually just look this up right now. It does look like it has been made official. Jenna Niswanger has signed with the Arsenal ladies, and down goes another player for Gotham. It's been a very, very interesting offseason for them. They have lost players all over the field,
Yeah.
whether it's to injuries, to free agency, to being traded away. And it really is starting to look maybe like something behind the curtain is going on with Gotham.
I think so. I think it's. I mean, I actually read up a little bit when you hand me the notes, and it looks like it's just rebuilding time. They decided to give it a big push. They wanted the championship. They got the first championship. They wanted to get a second one. They got a repeat. It didn't work out. They treated it like a business. From what I read, they treated it just like a business. It didn't work out. You invested all this money. Now you need to recoup as much money as you can, and then just keep on going. I mean, that's the way. That's the way I'm looking
I
at
think
it
you're
right now.
personally. I think you're looking at it way too optimistically. I'm old enough to remember, Gotham's predecessor in the Sky Blue days, and they right, wrong, or indifferent were notoriously known as just a poorly run organization. I'm hoping that that's not the case with Gotham also, but they have tons of investors and ownership that, in my opinion, should be able to foot the bill. If you want to play in a big market,
You're right.
You should be able to do
And
that.
New York is the biggest market.
Exactly. So, I there can only be one champion. And when you bring in all these national team players, you have to realize, okay, this might not result in a championship.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are we doing here? I'm very curious to see what
happens.
the future is for Gotham and the present for Gotham, to be honest. It's going to be very interesting to see how
Who's
this shakes
left,
out and who's left. It's funny, they just earlier today or last night posted on social media their incoming roster, and Niswanger was still on it. Midge Purse is still out, I believe, with an ACL injury.
Yeah.
So a lot of the pieces that
They
still thought
there,
and that they still thought they were counting on are not
Gone.
there. So it'll be an extremely strange time for Gotham as the season starts. To see where things will fall, and are they going to be bottom of the table? Are they going to be competing for a playoff spot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, again, like you said, I don't see them fighting for the top spots.
No.
But middle of the table, I mean, they got a possibility of sneaking in eighth. I guess that might be what they're playing for with all these changes and all these things. And another thing, like you said, I mean, management, I don't know much about, but I trust your knowledge on that end.
Well, and even that,
they
I
are
am
all kinds of a mess.
Self-admittedly not an expert on the NWSL, but I did talk to some people that are
you
familiar with
do have
Gotham,
some connections about
and they're not nearly as optimistic as you are. Let me put it that way.
Well, no, I'm just
a lot of language that can't be used on this podcast.
I'm just looking at it from an outsider's point of view, without the knowledge of the other side.
Absolutely.
And as any other sport, like when you see people leaving en masse like this, they always just signifies rebuild.
Right.
A new process, maybe even a new coach. Who knows? Because then this coach is going to start complaining about it. They're going to be like, so what are you leaving me with?
Right.
That's the question now from the technical side of the situation. You're bringing all these new players. What do you expect from me, and what do you want me to do about all these situations that are happening? So we're going to still, be keeping you informed about all these situations that are happening with Gotham. But, let's see. Let's see how hot they get at the beginning and see how strong they can finish.
Yeah, it's like I said, I hate to, be banging a drum over and over, but interesting is the only word that I can use to describe it right now.
Without us getting penalized here.
Yeah. So it could be a dumpster fire. It could be, business as usual, and you and I were wrong. But
there is no way business as usual. But dumpster fire, we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yes,
all right, so
indeed.
Moving on, we have a great weekend of watch parties here in the tap room. Starting off bright and early, I will be here. I know Mike will be here, and Seagulls on Hudson will be here. Nottingham Forest host Brighton and Hove Albion. So Brighton coming off that Everton loss. Nottingham Forest coming off that 5-0
riling.
killing.
That was a routing.
Yeah.
That was a routing.
Without a doubt. So, does Forest right the ship? Does Brighton right the ship? Both teams would love those points.
Yes.
Let me see let me look on the table where where everything shakes out right now. Forest still sit third, but they are 3 points back of Arsenal for second, but only 3 points ahead of Man City and Newcastle in fourth and fifth. So if they want to stay in Champions League
They gotta
contention,
keep up. They
they
gotta keep
have to
winning.
grab points here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one loss. It was a standing loss,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be, alarms going on for Forest right
it
now.
could just be a blip on the radar. I mean,
It was one of those.
If the same thing happened and Bournemouth had lost to either Forest or Newcastle, we would say the same thing.
Yeah, it's
just a blip on the radar. Let's get back to winning ways.
Brush it off and just keep going.
Brighton, on the other hand, sit ninth place, 1 point ahead of Fulham in 10th, but they are only 3 points back of Villa in 8th, and let me see, only 6 points out of Europe right now. So where Forest is trying to keep pace with the Champions League teams, Brighton is trying to take over the gap on a couple teams to get into
and that's possible.
The Europa and Conference League.
That is actually doable. I do have to see the possibility of them sneaking into Europe if they, they just got to steady up.
Yep.
They just got to keep going the way they were going. They're getting some results. It's just those losses, those unexpected losses hurt.
Right.
They did. I bet you they didn't see themselves losing. This last match.
No, not at all. And
some crazy.
You could see the frustration both from players, from fans, from the fans that we had here in the tap room.
Yeah.
Definitely a surprising result.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, at 10 a.m. on Saturday, Bournemouth hosting league leaders Liverpool.
Yeah.
This is it.
There you go. This is the top.
This is why you play the games.
Amen to that.
This is what you want. We've been along for the ride now for the last couple of years. Bournemouth is surpassing even the most optimistic
100%.
of predictions. They currently sit, where are they now? 7th place, I believe. Yep. 7th place, only 1 point back from 4th.
And I'm not even worried, man. They have shown some resiliency against the top teams. I mean, they have gotten results from every single one of the top 5 teams they have faced.
Right.
They have beat most of them.
Yeah.
They have actually gotten
they've
all
beaten
victories.
Arsenal, they've beaten Forest, they've beaten City, they beat Newcastle. Actually, they drew with Chelsea.
That's the only one that wasn't a victory. So I am totally positive about this. I have faith that they can get a great result, whether it is a tie or a victory. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say Liverpool is not in another level because Liverpool is playing in a whole different level than
despite the
anybody
Champions
else.
League loss at midweek.
Despite that doesn't even matter. I bet you they just didn't even care about that game. To be honest with you, 8 victories in a row.
They did have
whatever.
most of their squad playing, and that maybe gives Bournemouth a little bit of a step up.
Yeah.
These guys just played. I don't know where. Even if it was an away game, they played in the Netherlands, so not like a huge amount of travel.
There is no exhaustion coming into the picture right now.
But still, it's another match. They played a Champions League match midweek last week also. Yeah. So
they're a little overextended right now.
From a Bournemouth perspective, you hope that these miles are catching up to them. I don't think they are. But
no, but it is doable. I mean, they themselves have to know and have to believe in themselves and see that this is just another match. Back in last year, comparing teams.
Yep.
They had a much bigger gap to cover between what they were playing like and what the top teams were playing like last year. Now, they're equals. There is no other way to describe it. Bournemouth is playing as equals against any team that you put in front of them, top or bottom of the league. So this is going to be a great match. It's something that I'm definitely not missing. I'm watching every minute of it. And for once, Lucha's not my favorite guy. For once, Lucha is going to have to.
How about
he's going to have to sit on the bench.
A 4-3 win and a Luis Diaz hat trick.
That's it, baby. That's it.
That's what we need.
Take it to the bank.
A 7-goal thriller with Bournemouth coming out on top, and Lucho getting it done for all the Colombians.
That would be sweet. Salah goes to the bench somehow.
There you go. All right. So closing out the weekend, another match with both teams with Champions League implications.
Yeah.
Sunday, 11:30, Arsenal hosting Man City.
This is a
Obviously,
big one.
the history of Arteta being Guardiola's number 2 for years. Arsenal sits second, Man City in fourth. A win would put Man City to 44 with Arsenal on 47 points.
Yeah.
So, at the same time, they could wind up dealing a death blow to Arsenal's,
Aspirations,
championship
yeah.
hopes as well. If you combine a Man City win with Liverpool beating Bournemouth, that is a huge gap for them to now overcome.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, a Bournemouth victory and Arsenal beating Man City would put Bournemouth above City and right in the Champions League spot.
Christ,
so the fact that 4 of the top 7 teams are playing against one another this weekend.
It's super incredible.
It is a great weekend to be a soccer fan.
Especially a Premier League fan. Yeah, please.
Yes.
If you just like English soccer, please watch as many games as you can this weekend. This is going to be one for the ages.
Yes,
right now.
I am. I'll be looking.
no,
I'll
you
be
and I will be
watching.
there.
I'll be texting all the people that are involved that I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, a good weekend. This weekend it will be quality, not necessarily quantity. We only have 3 matches.
No, but they're going to be big matches.
Yeah.
All of them connect with each other.
And even Forest Brighton obviously has huge implications
Oh,
as well. Second and third, rather, and ninth. So, lots of stuff going on. All right, one for the road. Do you have anything for us?
No, I like what you have. Let's talk about that.
So
The saga
the saga of
continues.
Barcelona continues. We
People.
talked about it. I'm trying to think when this was. Probably back in the fall.
Yes.
With Real Madrid, doing an auction. So Golden Auction House has teamed up with FC Barcelona to auction off memorabilia from the Camp Nou.
Yep.
Um,
It's funny though, this is a sign of modern commerce, if anything, because back in the day, we as soccer fans, we will buy things, we buy jerseys, we buy soccer cleats.
and this was not even intended. I'm wearing my Barca kit today.
But nowadays, with this culture about people not leaving their homes but wanting to have a piece of the things that represent the things they love, everybody's selling out their buildings.
Yeah, listen, some of these things are pretty cool.
No, they are cool. I'm not saying not.
The top, the marquee item is Lionel Messi's dressing room locker. There's 13 days left in the auction. We'll play a quick guessing game here. What do you think the bid is at right now?
I want to say a couple £1 million.
Nah, not quite there yet. Not yet.
No.
The top bid is $300,000 right now.
And how many days are left?
2 weeks.
Couple million.
Yeah,
Couple million is gonna be sold.
You have at 120,000. You have the locker that was shared over the years by Gerard Piqué, Pep Guardiola, and Diego Maradona.
Pujols. If Pujol is for sale, I'll take it.
You got Ronaldinho's for $60,000.
That's crazy.
If I had that kind of money, I think Ronaldinho might be the one. Look at this. You have Neymar, R9 Ronaldo, and Riquelme, who had shared a lock, used the same locker
For
over the
the
years.
Argentinian all heads, Riquelme right there, baby.
For $24,000. That's really, it's
crazy.
more money than I have to spend on it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but it's not that crazy.
That is not a crazy number. Suarez and Puyol.
That would be the one
that's
right there.
$20,000. No one's bid on it yet, Diego.
No, but let's get a loan. All right, let me get the bank on the line.
Start the GoFundMe.
Yep. GoFundMe, everybody.
Gavi,
We need to get
Gavi and
$20,000.
Decos for $23,000. How about Romario and Luis Figo?
That was a good one, though. That was a good one.
Thierry Henry, David Villa, Ronald Koeman, and Rafinha. Nobody's bid on that one yet. There's Ansu Fati and Xavi. Nobody's bid on it.
Now you'll get them. You'll get the prize. You get the money for that. But like I said, it's just a new thing that all these online viewers and content creators.
Yeah.
Most of these things are gonna go to content creators. I can
think so?
guarantee you that. Especially with the Kings League.
Yeah.
All these guys are gonna buy all these things. You know what I mean?
Here, for the goalkeepers, Claudio Bravo.
No.
$2,500.
Now that's reasonable. Now that one right there, I might even go fund me for that one. All right, everybody. So we're doing either the goalies or Pujols, depending on how much money we raise.
No bids yet, but for $5,000, you can buy the part of the pitch with the penalty spots on them.
Wow!
Right?
Even that, there's wow.
$2,000
the
a piece.
corners.
$2,000 a piece for the corner flags. You could have various artwork that was displayed inside the stadium over the years.
You know what? Maybe one of those. Let me see the art. Yeah. The art is for like $1,000. $2,500.
At that price, just get a corner flag. You know?
Yeah. Oh my God! No! It would be nice to put it right here. So, right, you see that space right there?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, donate it. $2,500. One of those pictures.
Do we have any connections with Barca to make something happen?
We'll make it happen, baby. How many?
You know what? I want a seat. I want one of the seats itself.
All right. So, like I said, $25,000. GoFundMe, everybody.
Let's do it.
Let's put it out to the jury.
Speaking of which, that's going to do it for us. Give us a like or a follow on Instagram or on Facebook, YouTube. All of these podcasts are being syndicated, posted to YouTube with video. We're on Blue Sky now. Shoot us an email. Follow the Discord. I'm trying to think of other avenues that we're on. We're on TikTok as well. I have to add that to the banner on the bottom of the screen.
Just type CDU Newberg in your Google, and it will show you everything we have. And please support us. Please pass it along. We're growing. We want to keep growing. We want to,
and we can't do that growth without you guys as an audience. So
there you go.
Once again, thank you guys for listening, for participating when you come into the tap room and chat soccer with us.
Absolutely.
We've got plenty in store for you. We got MLS coming up in less than a month away.
Very, very soon.
So
yes, sir.
A lot of things going on. We have Champions League knockout. We have Europa League knockout. We have Bournemouth maybe making it into Europe this spring. We have a Club World Cup this summer. So we have a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
And we need your help. So
Absolutely.
Again, thank you. Thank you, Diego. Another great show this week. We'll see you in the tap room this weekend or right here on the podcast again next week.
Be blessed, everybody.